call to order the Program Management Committee meeting of October. Welcome everyone to this meeting. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yep, the record will reflect that Trustee Wabi is present online and Trustees Evan, Watson, and Wilson are here in the room.
Okay, need a motion to approve the committee minutes of 3 September.
So move.
Second.
Okay, no comments by the chair. Rich, your floor.
All right, thank you. Good morning, trustees. Give the engineering department agenda items that you'll be voting on next Thursday evening. First item is a CSO volume reduction green infrastructure grant being awarded to Maplewood Library. The ordinance authorizes the district to enter agreement with Maplewood Public Library to provide financial assistance to the green infrastructure grant program. The purpose of the project is to reduce combined sewer overflows into River to Pear per the long-term control plan. This project will reduce runoff with the installation of several pockets of amended soils. The total cost of the project is estimated at $7,200, and the library is requesting that amount for reimbursement. There's an exhibit in your packet showing the location. This is in the Big Bend, Manchester area, the northwest quadrant. Shows two areas where the roof downspouts be directed to these amended soils to capture the runoff. Actually, the next four items are new project designs that were selected by the engineering staff and operations staff for fiscal year 25. These are new designs that'll lead to construction in the next few years. First one is a Bissell Point trickling filter pump station replacement, includes final clarifier, tank repairs, and concrete rehabilitation. This action appropriates funds and authorizes staff to enter into a design contract. The ordinance authorized the district to enter a contract with Donahue and Associates for the design of this project. Project consists of the design and preparation of construction documents for the replacement of all 8 trickling filter pumps, including their motors, drives, and control panels. Replacement of 12 final clarifier collector mechanisms, drive units, and various pieces, and the rehabilitation of deteriorated concrete within the grip building and 6 grip tanks. The purpose of the project is to extend the useful service life of the trickling filter pump station, the final clarifiers, and to rehabilitate deteriorating concrete. In addition to that, we're adding a site security location at the entrance at Grand Avenue for additional security at our Bissell treatment plant. The total construction cost estimate for this design project will be $43 million, and that construction is expected in fiscal year 2027. There were 2 other proposals considered for this project, and our appropriation of $3,467,000 is about $333,000 below what we had proposed in the budget originally. Donahue has committed to 18% minority participation and 16.42% women participation with their subconsultants. This meets our current goals of 18% minority and 13% women. Got any questions, please stop me. Next question is next project is the Fenton Wastewater Treatment Facility elimination. This appropriates funds and authorizes staff to enter a design contract. This authorizes the district to enter a contract with GHD for the design of this project. This project consists of the design and preparation of construction documents to decommission, eliminate the Fenton Wastewater Treatment Facility. The purpose of this project is decommission, eliminate the treatment facility, which was made to happen with the completion, will be happening with the completion of the Lower Merrimack Tunnel and the Lower Merrimack Treatment Plant Upgrade Project. The project construction cost for this is about $3.2 million, and it is also scheduled to begin in fiscal year 2027. There were 2 other proposals for this project. The total appropriation for design services is $150,000 below the proposed amount in the CRP. So our appropriation for this design is $450,000. GHD, with the design being less than $500,000, there was a combined MWB goal of 31%. GHD is committed to just over 31% minority and women participation.
Rich,
Go ahead.
so this plant's being eliminated. What happens to the real estate? Is that surplus?
There will be some facility there. There's a drop shaft for the new tunnel, and there will be some odor control at the location. Once we get all that, I know there have been discussions probably for the last 20 years with the city of Fenton regarding this location. But I will check with staff to see if we have started those conversations. But more than likely, we'll still have some visibility there. But I think the city of Fenton is obviously anxious for us to remove our treatment plant there.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Next item is the wastewater treatment plant nutrient removal, phosphorus removal. It's at various treatment plants. This action appropriates funds and authorizes staff to enter a design contract. The contract will be with GHD for the design of the nutrient removal project. Project consists of the design and preparation of construction documents for the construction of new buildings with dedicated pumps, mechanical electric equipment, or chemical bulk storage tanks, chemical feed systems, or controlled dosing of bulk storage tanks to appropriate points within the 4 treatment facilities. And the chemical loadout and transfer facilities for safe receiving and chemical transfer from trucks to our bulk storage tanks. Purpose of this project is to complete improvements at Bissell Point, Lemay, and Grand Glaze wastewater treatment facilities to reduce effluent total phosphorus to meet our NPDES permit requirements. These improvements will be made in accordance with agreements with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources related to the development of new permitting requirements for those treatment plants beginning in January 2029. Improvements at the Missouri River treatment plant are intended to reduce the potential for struvite formation by reducing phosphorus concentration at various plant cycle streams. The construction cost estimate for this project is $38,200,000, and construction for this is anticipated in 2027. This is one of the sheets I gave you for our major projects that we have coming up with this nutrient removal. It's a non-consent decree project. We've talked about it just last month. There's a second phase to a nutrient removal project, which happens in late 2030s, which is quite a bit more expensive with the removal of nitrogen from our treatment process or from our effluent. So this is the first phase of the nutrient removal. And this is all to reduce the Gulf hypoxia, the nutrients in the Mississippi River, which cause Gulf hypoxia. So it's a larger impact to the entire Mississippi River valleys. I'm sorry, MWB participation. Again, the goal is 18% minority and 18% women for subconsultant, 13%. GHD is committed to 18.57 minority and 13.67 women participation on the project. Next item is pump station ORS SCADA network upgrades. This appropriates funds and authorizes staff to enter a design contract with CDM Smith for the design of this project. The project consists of the design and preparation of construction documents for multiple pump station and ORS SCADA PLC network upgrades. The project design consists of 3 SCADA PLC network upgrade, basically 3 projects. Purpose of the project is to replace aging instrumentation, communication, and controls equipment with modern technology and provide for improved monitoring capabilities at these locations. The construction cost estimate for these 3 projects is $28,500,000. Construction is anticipated again in fiscal year 27. There were 2 other proposals considered, and CDM Smith was selected. The appropriation of $1,783,000 is $404,000 below what we had originally anticipated in the budget. CDM Smith has committed to the 18% and 13% MWBE subconsultant participation. The next project is also a design project, but this is an unplanned supplemental to existing design contract with Intuition and Logic. Just recently, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources reached out, and there's additional ARPA funds. As you recall, we're doing a number of ARPA projects for stream bank stabilization in the North County in the area, and they had some additional dollars. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to recoup those dollars for construction, but they are making them available for design. The requirement is that we have the contract for design done before the end of the year. So we're going to utilize one of our consultants that's already designing these projects for us. We're going to supplement their contract, and we'll be getting a 98% reimbursement for these design services. They're going to design 3 projects that we already had planned that are funded by Proposition S dollars over the next several years. So I'll provide the details. Again, we're appropriating additional funds and authorizing to amend a design contract with Intuition and Logic to provide design services under the Stormwater Design ARPA Grant Project Contract A. This project consists of design and preparation of construction documents for 3 stormwater stream bank stabilization projects. The project will be reimbursed, or the design services will be reimbursed by ARPA funds. The construction cost estimate for all 3 of these projects is about $3.7 million. Those projects are listed on the detail sheet. Again, MD&R contacted us, and we'll, as long as we get this under contract before the end of the year, which we'll be able to do with this action, we'll be reimbursed 98%. I will give an update. We've got 2 projects that we bid this past month, ARPA projects, and I'll give a kind of a final tally of what kind of monies we're actually getting through the ARPA program a little later. Any questions on that?
Yeah, let me real quickly. The ARPA money, it's got to be allocated or designated to be spent this year, or do we spend it? Or does this contract spend it this year?
We have to be under contract. All the construction projects had to be bid and under contract by the end of calendar year 2024, which with these final 2 projects I have coming up under construction, we'll have done that. And same with this one design with this extra dollars, we will have that contract amended and under contract before the end of the year. So they, in other words, we'll expend and we'll submit a request for payment to MD&R as we make those payments.
Thank you.
Rich, the 98% reimbursement is on the additional amount?
Correct. The 98% is on the $900,000 that we're appropriating. Again, I was planning on waiting until I got through the last 2. I'll give you exact numbers of what our overall reimbursement amount was on these projects, but it's a significant amount of money that had we not have passed Proposition S, we probably wouldn't have been able to do. All right. Next item is a design supplemental on the project that we're bidding right now. It's the Bissell Point trickling filter media replacement. This appropriates funds and authorizes staff to amend a design contract with Jacobs Engineering for engineering during construction for the Bissell Point trickling filter Phase 2 project, which is a project we anticipated bringing that this month, but it's still under MWBE review. Project consists of removal and replacement of the trickling filters number 1 and 2. The scope includes many miscellaneous repairs, the concrete walls, and various pieces of those 2 trickling filters. Purpose of the project is to extend the useful life and required us to meet our MDNR compliance. Construction cost estimate for these 2 trickling filters, $17,650,000. Construction for this will begin during this fiscal year. The supplemental appropriation was in the budget for this fiscal year for $150,000, and it is equal to that amount. All right, the next several are projects that we've bid over the last month. There's 3 projects. The first one is infrastructure repair rehabilitation contract A. This appropriates funds and authorizes staff to enter a construction contract. The work to be done consists of rehabilitation of approximately 77,000 lineal feet of sanitary sewers, 6 to 30 inch in diameter, using the cured in place pipe method. Purpose of the project is reduce infiltration and rehabilitate older, damaged, deteriorated sanitary sewers throughout the district. Sewers identified for rehabilitation are identified through our CMOM inspection program required by the consent decree. We received 3 bids on this project. The low bid was from SAK Construction. The bid was below our design estimate, and our appropriation of $4.6 million is below the planned budget for the project. This project had a minority and women participation goals of subcontractors of 10% minority and 10% women, and SAK has met that with a total of 22.8% MWB participation. The next 2 are the ARPA projects I discussed. The first one is the Delwood Creek Bank Stabilization. This action appropriates funds and authorizes staff to enter a construction contract. The work to be done consists of construction of approximately 775 feet of natural channel stabilization, 98 lineal feet of modular block wall, building demolition, 50 feet of storm sewers, varying in size from 12 to 18 inch in diameter. The purpose of the project is to alleviate stream bank erosion threatening structures along Delwood Creek from Bon Oak Drive to Pepper Lane. The district received 5 bids on this project. The low bid was from DJM Ecological Services. The bid was below our design estimate, and our appropriation of $1 million was below the original budget for the project. DJM Ecological has committed to 21.4% MWB participation, and it currently meets our 10% minority and 10% women goals. And again, this project will be reimbursed to the tune of 89% by the ARPA grant program. The next project also is an ARPA grant project. It is the Larimore Parkway to Birmingham Channel improvements. This action appropriates funds and authorizes staff to enter a construction contract. The work consists of construction of 2,400 lineal feet of bank stabilization, 310 lineal feet of storm pipe sewer and appurtenances. Purpose of the project is alleviate stream bank erosion occurring along a reach of Watkins Creek between Larimore Parkway and Birmingham Court. The district received 4 bids on this project. Low bid was from Gershenson Construction. The bid was below our design estimate, and our appropriation of $2,350,000 is below the budget for the project. Gershenson committed to 37.41% minority and women participation. which exceeds our 10% minority and 10% women goals on the project. And just to kind of give a summary of the ARPA projects, we had a total of 8 construction projects that were funded from ARPA, and then the 3 stormwater design projects for a total of 10 projects. The total construction cost for those projects is 31 million, and we'll be reimbursed 21 million of that. So we're getting about a third. It's about 67% reimbursement. It varied depending on the project and the amount we requested originally from ARPA. So a total of about 64% reimbursement on those projects. I think, Trustee Wabi, that was the question you were asking.
Yes, thank you.
I do have a summary sheet. If somebody would need that, feel free to reach out to me and I can get that to you to kind of show you the exact numbers. But obviously, when we were really kind of only doing $5 or $6 million of stormwater a year, this is a good way to kickstart our Proposition S stormwater dollars. All right. Last one is there are 5 items here. I'm going to take these all as one group. It's the general services agreement, property appraisal. It's a renewal of 5 contracts with companies that provide those services for the district. They're contracts A, B, C, D, and E. This action appropriates funds and authorizes us, the staff, to amend our contracts with these entities. Real estate analyst, Mueller Neff Real Estate Appraisers, LLC, Volkert Incorporated, DJ Howard and Associates, and Planning and Valuation Consultants Incorporated. This ordinance authorizes us to amend those contracts for appraisal services associated with the acquisition of easements and property rights by negotiation or condemnation. The appraisal services will be provided on an as-needed basis as required to obtain property rights. The work will be assigned on a project-by-project basis, and each one of these contracts or amendments is for $75,000. This is the first of 2 option year renewals. We'll reselect this in fiscal year 2027. We anticipate needing approximately 310 appraisals over this next year. And that concludes the agenda items.
Okay. Thank you, Rich. Is there any other business?
No other presentations or other business?
No other business. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Our next meeting is scheduled for November the 5th. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Get a roll call, please.
Yep, I'll note that trustee Wabi is present online. We have trustees Evan and Wilson in the room, and I think trustee Watson will be right back.
Hey, can I get a motion to the committee meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Got no comments by the chair. First item is.
Thank you, Trustee Evans. Good morning, trustees. As Rich referenced during his earlier comments regarding Prop S, voters in April approved Prop S, which authorized funding for a stormwater capital program. As a result of the passage of Prop S, we expect to receive approximately $34 million annually, which will allow the district to address flooding and erosion issues that occur within our service area. The revenue will consist of an impervious surface charge of $1.05 per 1,000 square feet of impervious surface area that will be charged to non-residential customers. This charge is expected to generate revenues of approximately $19 million annually, and we will start assessing that fee effective January 1st, 2025. It won't actually appear on customers' bills until February, as we bill a month in arrears. Residential customers will be billed via property tax of 7.45 cents per $100 of assessed residential property property valuation. That charge will appear on tax bills that will be issued in December of 2025. The tax is expected to generate $15 million of annual revenue. The composition of the revenue, 57% of it is expected to come from non-residential customers, and the remaining 43% from residential customers. That percentage is actually tied to the amount of impervious surface area that is associated with each of those customer classes. The proposed ordinance that is being discussed today only relates to the impervious surface charge that will be applied to non-residential customers. The property tax will be paid by residential customers, and that will be included in our tax ordinance that the board will be asked to consider as part of the budgeting process next year. The stormwater ordinance also contains language regarding the appeals process. So if a customer believes that they're being incorrectly charged, there's an appeals mechanism that's contained in the ordinance. In addition to that, the ordinance also contains a credit policy that will define how customers may seek credit for newly constructed stormwater best management practices, or if they put in a detention basin that is not required by previous or current district regulations, they have an opportunity to receive a credit as well. Again, the ordinance will appear on the October board agenda we will ask the board to adopt that ordinance in November, which will give us time to get the billing system in place so that we can begin charging customers effective January. But again, that impervious charge will appear on February bills. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Yeah, real quick, Marion. How are we communicating this new charge? I mean, I understand the voters approved it. There should be obviously some knowledge that what they voted for, there's going to be, additional costs. But I'm just curious how we're going to communicate it over the next year so we don't get so people anticipate that this additional charge is going to be on their bills.
Okay. With respect to non-residential customers, we actually are in the process of sending out mailings to that group of customers. With some of our larger customers, we're actually sending them maps of their impervious surface area, and we're going to ask them to review that data before we start billing, just so that when we kick off the billing, we've addressed any concerns that those customers may have. With respect to those customers that are being billed via tax, we will go through our normal process. We have a public hearing in which that public hearing is actually advertised so that those residential customers will know that that tax will appear on their property tax bill.
I jump in. Trustee Wabi, this is Brett. I also wanted to add, we've recently completed a round of local leader luncheons where we reach out to local municipalities and invite them to come meet with us. This was our topic of discussion with them, and we had fairly good participation. And we are sending out follow-up communication with regard to this also now that we've completed those meetings. But it was specifically targeted at the municipal grants and the upcoming impervious bills that are going to be coming out in February of 2025.
Good, thank you. I just want to make sure we're on top, but I'm sure we are.
Okay, are there any additional questions? Trustee Evans, that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you. Item is the SRF update.
All right, I'm just going to take a minute here to update you on the SRF loans that closed last week. I don't have a handout for this. So last month, we talked about 2 SRF loans, one a $13 million loan for some inflow and infiltration work, mostly cured in place piping. The other one is $640 million, which is the balance of the financing for the fluidized bed incinerator. We did close on those loans last week. The final interest rate was 1.23%. The state adds a 50 basis point admin charge. So once we start paying back principal, all-in rate will be 1.73, which is really a phenomenal rate. We're really thankful for our partnership with the Department of Natural Resources and the work done by the engineering group to help prepare them for all the work that's going to be done here so that they could prioritize this funding and get this done for us. Last year, we closed on a $260 million loan, all-in rate of 1.76. So this entire $900 million project is being financed by loans with an average interest rate of just under 1.75, which is pretty incredible. So I wanted to pass that on just to let you know about that final rate. And then I have one more thing on the agenda, and that is the monthly operating fund portfolio. There are a few changes to talk about this month, mainly because interest rates we're starting to see significant changes there. So I'm going to start in the upper left. The portfolio is down about $13 million. We spent more than we brought in over the last month, mostly because of capital projects. We're seeing a lot of spending on the fluidized bed incinerator project. Yield to maturity is where we see some big changes. So our portfolio went up 9 basis points from 360 to 3.69, and the benchmark came down 32 basis points. So we're finally met the benchmark here, and we're going to see this as rates continue to come down. There's still expected to be a couple more cuts this year. We'll see if that happens, but that benchmark reacts immediately because the entire portfolio flips over. We're still anchored with some past investment issuances that we've had, so our rate will not move nearly as quickly. As a matter of fact, we should see ours continue to trend up as we drop some lower interest rate investments over the next month. Next month, we have some big debt service payments due, and we have some investments maturing that are at a low rate. So we should actually see our yield to maturity tick up while the benchmark comes down. Continues to come down a little bit, or maybe next month it'll stay around here, but I'm starting to see some big changes there. The long end of the interest rate curve has not been as volatile. That would impact more of our borrowing than investing, but we're not planning on borrowing until sometime later next year. So no immediate impact from that. Weighted average maturity, just some minor changes. Ours went down just a little bit, about 5 bips, and the benchmark went up 3. Not big changes in our sector allocation. Biggest change was a little bit less Fed agency, a little bit more commercial paper, but we're just talking the 1 to 2 percentage points there. Fund summary in the bottom left, everything is pretty static there. We're really spending out of the operations. That portfolio went up 10 basis points on the yield for the month. And the maturity distribution is the same story that we've seen. The benchmark is really concentrated in that 1 to 3 year range of maturities. We've got more than half, just under 2/3 of ours maturing within a year because we have a lot of spend out on projects. We can reimburse some of those projects from the SRF fund, but most of that is initially coming out of our cash balances. And any questions on the operating fund portfolio? If not, that is all I had, Trustee Evans.
All right, next tentative meeting date is November 5th. I get a motion to adjourn.
Move. Second. Call to order the Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting of October 2024. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, the record will reflect that Trustee Wabi is present on the line and Trustees Evans, Watson, and Wilson are present here in the room.
Okay, I have no comments. Can I get a motion to approve the committee minute from 3 September?
So move.
Second.
With no objection, approved. Moving right along, Mr. President, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, trustees. I'm here to present to you a resolution that will be on the board meeting a week from Thursday. It has to do with our OMCI sub-taxing, our taxing districts. And I want to start with just going over the current status of our taxing districts. So there is a map in your packet that's up on the screen right now. And I just want to run through this for a little bit to kind of set the stage for the discussion. Long ago, back in the 60s, a number of taxing districts were established. They were generally outside the city of St. Louis boundary and kind of then bounded by Highway 270 you see there. But there are 12 taxing districts. Funds were generated to do projects in there most recently, and for past history, it's all been stormwater related. Back in, and these taxing sub-districts have been turned on at times, they've been turned off. The taxing level has varied a little bit over time. Most recently, in 2019, we tried to go out and get stormwater funding on a regional basis, and we failed. You know, we didn't reach 50% vote. Out of that, we went back to the municipalities in these sub-districts and asked them if they would like us to turn the tax back on so funds could be collected that they could utilize in a grant program. And that's what we did in 2021. We started that again. 6 of the sub-districts asked to have grants available to them. And if you look at the map here, it's the sub-districts that are shaded in pink. So the Coldwater Creek sub-district, the University City branch of River des Peres, Deer Creek sub-district, Sugar Creek, the Seminary branch of the River des Peres, and Gravois Creek. One sub-district that you see hatched there, the Maling Creek district, wanted the tax collected, but they did not want to administer any grants. So MSD has been taking care of those dollars and developing projects and executing projects in that sub-district. You see 5 districts that are kind of on the eastern boundary there, the Watkins Creek, Wellston, Shrewsbury branch of the River de Pere, North Afton, and Loretta Joplin district. Back in decided not to turn the taxes back on, and that's been the status up till now. Let's see. Last year, we went through our rate commission process, and we had both a wastewater and a stormwater rate proposal. With regards to the stormwater rate proposal, it was to generate dollars that could be used on a regional basis. There was also 30% of the funds that were going to be earmarked as municipal grants. As you know, in April, Prop S passed, and so now we have that funding available. Part of our rate proposal to the rate commission was to set all of these subtaxing districts' rate at 0, and that was the basis of our proposal. The report generated by our rate commission to the board that was adopted asked us and directed us to go back to all of these municipalities and see if they would like some level of taxing still turned on to support stormwater projects and do it as a grant program. So after the passage of Prop S in April, it was started by Brian Holscher. It was kind of one of his last main duties here. He started reaching out to all these municipalities, myself included, others on staff to support from the engineering department, public affairs. We went out and over the time frame of May to September, we've in one form or fashion met with all of these municipalities and asked for their input on whether or not they want to maintain some sort of taxing level in these OMCI taxing districts. We set some parameters for them. We said that if we were going to make a recommendation to the board, we would need over 75% of the municipalities in a taxing district to formally support that by submitting on their letterhead, either from the mayor, the council, the public works director, the city administrator, formal confirmation that we wanted the taxes to continue. Out of all those discussions and out of all of the formal communication, 3 of the taxing districts have garnered enough support to make a recommendation to leave them turned on. And the level that's been discussed and we feel is appropriate is at about the 25% level of what the current taxing level is. And so, you know, for the average home in our area, that equates to a cost of about $5 to $7 per year. Okay, so the 3 taxing districts that we're making a recommendation to leave on are the Sugar Creek taxing district, which garnered over 99% support, the University City taxing district that garnered over just over 81%, and the Deer Creek taxing district that garnered just over 77% support. And you'll see those outlined in the other map that is included with your handout, the red circled areas there. The Seminary district, the Gravois district, the Coldwater district, and the Mailing district will all be turned off. And the Watkins, Wellston, Wellston, North Afton, Loretta Joplin, and the Shrewsbury branch of the River de Pere will all remain off. The reason we're coming to you today with this is we need, from planning purposes, we need to have direction as we develop our budget for FY26, which takes place currently right now through the end of the year. There is some activities that Rich's group has to perform and some staffing to support the grant program. The first formal action that the board will make with regards to this is as we go through accepting the budget for FY26. So we'll prepare it such that these subtaxing districts are going to be stay on at the 1/4% of their current level. As we go through the budget acceptance process, March, April, May, and June of next year. In September, like we just did with our special board meeting, will be when we finally set the rates for these. So really a year from now is when we would set the taxing level for those. What else? I think that summarizes things. So the resolution is just to memorialize that we're going to leave for going forward the U-City, the Sugar Creek, and the Deer Creek OMCI taxing districts and set them to a level next September at 25% of their current value. Can I answer any questions with regards to all that? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you.
The next several items will be handled by Ms. Coleman. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. And good morning, trustees. I'd like to bring your attention to proposed ordinance 16478 for the FMLA administration provider. Trustees, we worked with the Gallagher, who is our broker for our medical benefits and our employee benefits, and they helped us with the RFP process to submit this for the standard. So currently, we were working with the standard as our FMLA provider. The standard's contract will expire in December 31st of 2024. And this particular ordinance would authorize us to enter into a new contract with the standard for the FMLA administration of benefits for our employees here at the district. If this is approved, this contract will become effective January 1st, 2025 for the standard to provide FMLA administration. It's a one-year contract commencing on the date I previously mentioned through December 31st of 2025. And it will also have 2 option years on this particular contract for FMLA benefits. Trustees, do you have any questions about this particular ordinance? Okay. So the next ordinance is proposed ordinance 16479. We also, again, work with Gallagher on this particular insurance, but it's for accidental death and dismemberment insurance for our employees. The current plan that we have with the standard will expire in December 31st, 2024. This action will allow us to go into a new contract with the standard effective January 1st of 2025 through December 31st of 2025, and will give us 2 additional option years that we can stay with the standard for the accidental death and dismemberment insurance. Are there any questions about the insurance proposal through the standard? Okay. So the next ordinance is ordinance 16480. This is the long-term disability coverage benefits also offered through the standard. The current plan that we have with the standard for these long-term disability benefits will expire December 31st, 2024. If approved, this action will authorize us to enter into a new contract with the standard beginning January 1st of 2025 through December 31st of 2025, and will also give us 2 additional option years for the long-term disability insurance for our employees. Are there any questions about the long-term disability coverage? Okay. So the next proposed ordinance is 16477, which is the classification plan. We've made some, there's no new positions per se. We've done a lot of retitling. So if you guys can look towards the end of the detail sheet, we identify these as new positions, and technically they are, but previously the supervisors were just called operations supervisors or assistant supervisors in operations. Now they've been given identifications based off of their location. So the new positions are assistant supervisor for the plants, assistant supervisor for the pumps, assistant supervisor for the yards, operations division manager pumps, operation division manager yards, operation manager pump, operation manager yards, operation supervisor pump, operation supervisor plant maintenance, operation supervisor plants operations, operation supervisor yards. So again, those are all the new titles for those supervisors with the breakout of their locations. Additional retitle positions are the operation division manager is going to be going to operation division manager plants. Operation manager is going to be going to operation manager plants. SCADA administrator supervisor is going to be changed to operations supervisor SCADA. And the last is one pay upgrade. The warehouse technicians will be moving from A2 to a B2, B211 for their pay grade. Are there any questions about the changes to the classification ordinance? Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Paradis.
Good morning.
You have the floor.
Thank you. I'll be delivering the Diversity 2024 annual report this morning. And the report will cover the design and construction, utilization and workforce, the small contractor program, and our ongoing community benefits agreement. And thank you. We'll start off with the construction side. In construction, we completed the year with 72 project awards worth $888.8 million. 69 were non-building sewer construction projects, 1 building construction, 1 state-funded, and the design build FBI project. We also had 4 immediate need emergency projects with no goals. And this is now the 5th consecutive year in which all capital construction projects awarded successfully attained the diversity program goals at the time of award. The commitments amounts for these was 20.78%, totaling $184,681,082. And as previously reported in the semi-annual FY24 report, we had 22 non-building projects that had the previous goals prior to August 1st of 2023. In 2024, 20% of the total dollars paid on active construction contracts amounted to $72,764,000 million. MBE spend was $48.6 million, or 13.42%, and the spend for WBEs was 6.65%, or a little over $24 million. Next, I'll cover the workforce reports, which also reflect our consistency with meeting our program goals. So here to the left are the workforce goals that were in effect during the time of the fiscal year 2024. And again, there are projects working with the previous goals attached to those. What's presented here on the left is the cumulative hours worked for 151 building and non-building construction projects of 377,150 hours. And on the state construction side, they did 251,995 hours that was worked on 54 active projects. And I'll break that down a little bit more on the next slide. So overall, MSD had 37.1% of diverse participation, with 29.25% minority, 7.76% women. And in the chart, building and non-building and state-funded projects had 29% minority participation, and you'll see that women participation on the state-funded projects is slightly higher on those projects with 8.89%. So MSD contractors continue to effectively feed our pipeline of diverse workers, as you can see with the 51% that was accomplished in the training and apprentices. And this next slide gives an overall workforce participation, what that looked like over the past 3 years. This demonstrates that our workforce participation is on the incline for both minority and women participation over the previous years. The next set of information will cover our design area. There were 27 design project awards totaling $63,760,183. And this equated to 20.71% in commitments to diverse MBEs and WBEs. And 47.21% of our total spend were with MBEs at 36.76%, and WBEs with 10.45%. And workforce for design firms had 11.39% minority participation and 35.58% women participation. This is for professional services participation working in our local offices on our design projects. On this next slide.
Quickly, Ms. Paradis, this showed a decline, pretty much a decline over the last, is that COVID related, or was there a reason for the design workforce utilization?
On the next slide.
On page 8.
On the chart.
Right. We went from 16% to 11%. And 36 to 35. I guess on the minority, the women did not drop quite as much. But, you know, on page 8 there.
On page 8?
Mm-hmm.
So our current workforce utilization for design for minorities is 35.58%. Last year, it was 34.13%.
The year before it was.
But the year before, it was 36.29, and that was during the time we were coming out of COVID.
Okay. So there's a little bounce back. It dropped, but
right.
It's starting back. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So over 3 years, working the local offices within MSD service area, it has fluctuated. However, the increase that you see for both minority and women over the previous year in our did occur with us coming out of COVID. So what we intend to do is plan to continue our work with our industry partners to focus on opportunities to grow this pipeline so that we will continue to see those increases. And some of the activities that we have and that we're doing currently include, looking at additional training opportunities, mentoring, scholarships, internships, and there's some promising programs that are coming up that we're currently focused on that will kind of put us or give us a model that's similar to what we have on the construction side. So you'll begin to see more additional information on that moving forward. So in this next slide, I'll cover the small contractor program. Our small contractor program continues to be an excellent program for small businesses with limited resources and sewer experience that can be used to gain additional qualifications that would increase opportunities for growth for small businesses. So in terms of the annual spend, 30% for sanitary and 35% for storm went to diverse businesses. The number of jobs for sanitary were 30.77%, and storm was slightly higher at 35%. But overall, for projects, it was 33.16% that was performed by MWBEs. And again, on this next slide is a chart where you see the program landed at 32.56% this past year for overall spend, which is slightly higher within our industry when considering that every contractor on this program is considered to be a small business and that every contract performed on this program, that contractor performed that work as a prime contractor. So that's still very significant in our industry and higher than most of the industry standards for primes to be performing work. And I'll move on to our community benefits agreement. I'd like to let everyone know, and we'll be featuring our 10th anniversary of our community benefits agreement in our next annual diversity publication. Now, the purpose and focus remains on addressing barriers and bringing forth resources into our communities that are necessary to promote opportunities in areas considered to be disadvantaged. So MSD remains steadfast and true to the community benefits initiatives for job training, employment, education, internships, scholarships, business opportunities for minorities and women, and for us to enforce the implementation of disparity study updates which address disparities within our communities. So on this next slide, as previously reported in the semi-annual report, MSD sponsored 55 participants through the Missouri Works Initiative or BUD STL program. And we renewed the contract with BUD during the fiscal year, and we have plans to continue with the current business model, which offers the 6-week multi-core curriculum pre-apprenticeship training in conjunction with the skilled trades to all participants. And I'm also happy to add that a new BUD high school program began this fall with this fall school semester, which gives high school credit for the semester to the participants in the program. And I'll be reporting on that this first semester participation during the semi-annual report this year. But this past summer, Bud also had a pilot of this program through another one of our partners to MSD, the St. Louis Internship Program, Boys and Girls Club of St. Louis, that proved to be extremely successful. And this is what paved the way for the high school program to get started, where students would receive credit for the program. So we're pretty excited about that. And in this next slide, speaking of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater St. Louis and the St. Louis Internship Program, MSD sponsored 4 high school interns this past summer in diversity, legal and information governance, and information technology. And the one scholarship recipient we had last year was also featured in the SIUE publication. She successfully completed her internships and passed her certifications. So for this school year, the current school year that began in August, I'm happy to say that we did award 4 scholarships, and we look forward to reporting on their progress during the next semi-annual report. And that concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
There are no questions. Thank you, Ms. Curtis.
You're welcome.
Okay, there's no further business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah, our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for November the 5th. Pleasure of my life, folks. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.